Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 2 of the Performance Link CLIO Cup here at Donington Park. It's going to be an interesting race today. This is our second race of the season. We have one down and we've got another 4 to go. But tonight we're here at the Donington International Layout and it is going to be an epic. Another 3 20-minute rounds coming up for you to enjoy. My name is Andy Thompson. Unfortunately, Tom has been called out to fix Farmer Giles' tractor on the farm. So I'm sure he is listening to us on YouTube here tonight for this second round. And wow, what a first round we had at Brands Hatch, the Indy layout. It was exceptional, you know. The driving standards were really good. We did have a practice session earlier on in that, and it was a bit of a carnage going down into turn number 1, but the actual race day was absolutely amazing. The drivers all performed very kindly with each other, and we managed to succeed in getting the free 20-minute races. So if you are new to this broadcast here tonight, just give you a little bit of a heads up of what's coming up. We are currently just finishing off the practice. They have around about 6 minutes left to go on that before they have 10 minutes of qualifying. 3 lone laps for the drivers to do. It was relatively quick in Brands Hatch, around about a 58-second lap, but this one's a little bit longer, so we're talking 1:16 to 1:18 the lap time, so they should fill out the 10 minutes a little bit more than they did last time. But let's have a look over at the point standings at the moment. Only had sort of one round. We look at the championships first off. Blade Design currently lead the way on 89 points, with Olympus Esports in second place on 78 points. Track Scotland in third place on 75 points, with IGL Coating IRACING by Sandy Traffic Skull in fourth place on 69. Rock Racing in fifth on 68 points, and a little bit of a gap to AKM Racing in 6th at 60 points, with Sim Racing Norway heading up the field in 7th on 60 points. But over to the individual championships, let's have a look at the pros. So currently leading the way is Thomas Wangham with a perfect 45. The only way you could have got better with that was if you had 0 incidents, where you would get an extra 2 points. So just 6 points off the maximum of 51, but certainly winning all the 3 races out last time is on maximum points, 45. In second, Dan Sedgley on 43, only 2 points behind, really helped by a clean race number 2, which gave him 2 extra points, which closes the gap down to 2 points to Thomas Wangan in first place. In third place, we got Kieran Smart on 38 points. Fourth place, Jens Goosens on 31. Michael Goff in fifth place for AKM Racing on 31 points. Lee King McGee of AKM Racing in 6th on 25th. Lass Sorensen from IGL Coatings E-Racing by Traffic Skull in 7th on 24 points. Alexander Scorette from IGL Coatings on 22. And Kim Andre Borkland on 16, so heading up the pro field. Over to the Pro-Am then, we have currently leading the way Dec Crowther on another perfect 45 points for him, with Stuart Winness followed by him in Track Scotland on 37 points. Tom Hedridge in third place on 36 points, with Steve Pearce in fourth place on 35. Craig Salter in fifth on 34. Lee Anderson in sixth on 33. Gordon Haig in 7th on 29, and Simeon Moldeclef and Daniel Carpenter yet to score in the race. Going over to the Anfield then, we currently have Stuart Gibbons in first place with 44 points, with Nathan Maximim in 43. Paul Joseph Clist in third place from Olympus Esports of 35 points. East Frederick from Rock Racing in fourth place on 34 points, with Alex Petruccio in 5th place for Track Scotland on 33 points. Vega Olsen in 6th for Sim Racing Norway on 31 points, and Andy King McGee on AKM Racing in 7th position on 29 points. So championships relatively close. They are a single single sessions, but each of the rounds do score. We don't have any reverse grids, so at the moment we haven't got the carnage of the reverse grids in race 2 or 3. So it's basically wherever they finish out on track for the positions at the end of each race is where they start the following race. So the races 1 and 2 will be a very quick transition from 1 to 2. We're going to have a 5-minute little break between 2 and 3, and then we'll have a final 20-minute races. But these races go by super quick out on track. And as you can see, the timing, sort of Thomas Wangen leading the way on a 1:16.979 with Kieran Smart in second, 600ths of a second behind. So super close times out on track with Tom Herridge in 5th place, the top Pro-Am driver, and Alex Patricio, after probably a disappointing round for him at Brands Hatch, is leading the way in the Anfield in 8th place overall. So there's lots to get up. Still very early days. There are 5 rounds in this championship, and it's going to go down to the wire. And it's going to be very much all about consistency. If the drivers can actually still maintain the consistency, score the decent points, and if they do get involved in an incident, it's just to make sure that they can finish the round and score the decent points out on the session. So it's all about keeping the pace in. And basically scoring them points to be able to be in a chance for the championship come the last round, which will be back at Brands Hatch but on the GP layout. So it's going to be interesting to see with the 5 rounds. Only 5 rounds here, a little bit of a small season, just to give us a little bit of a filler coming in to the summer months, because nobody wants to really do a 12-round epic season out on track. But yeah, just coming into the final couple of minutes here at Donington, and what we'll do is we'll ride on board with one of the drivers on the first lap of the qualifying to take you a driver eye view of the track. It's one of them really good tracks. I know Tom's going to be absolutely gutted that he missed tonight. He was really looking forward to it from the podcast last night if you watched it. But just take you around the first corner, Redgate. It's a really long right-hander corner. You really got to go into it nice and smooth and then power your way out the corner before we come down through the classic part of Donington Park, through the Craner curves all the way down to the old hairpin turn number 4. Very tricky corner, that one, turn 4, and luckily Gordon's right on pack to where we are before they come up through Starkey Bridge here, and then coming up to McLean's. Another tricky corner, and with these cars racing toe to toe, certainly on the opening lap, it's going to be super interesting to see what happens before coming up to turn 8 here, top of the hill. Very much a blind corner, so if any of the cars are out on track, spin it at that corner in front, it's going to be very much a blind for the driver following up if he's not close behind, before coming down the Starkey Bridge and then coming through the S's at the end. So we're not doing a GP layout with the what I find the treacherous Goddard corner that we can just see there on the left hand side of the green, before coming down the Wheatcroft Straight here before completing a lap. So it's going to be really interesting 20 minutes out on track for each of the races, and if Brands round 1 was anything to go by, it's certainly going to be an interesting event tonight with lots of spills and thrills. But we had some really great racing, and I'm expecting the same here tonight. So the drivers are just lining up for the qualifying. They do have 10 minutes, so there's no rush. They do only have the 3 laps to complete, and then that is pretty much their so let's ride on board here with Alex Patricio as he comes out for his warm-up lap before he starts his first flying lap here at Donington Park International layout. So coming down the hill, so you can see the elevation changes here coming down through the Craner curves, coming into what is probably one of the treacherous corners on the track, really taking all the curb on the inside and using the outside, probably using a little bit of the dirt on the outside. We'll see a couple of the pro drivers use that, but it's very fine margins for getting that extra bit of time through that curve, or basically just sort of losing it. And it's a great track, really wide, really suited to these Clio cars. So we should see some rather excellent races. But before the carnage and the mayhem, we do obviously, like I say, let the drivers do their qualifying time on their own. So there's no outside interference or team advantage in the qualifying sessions. So it's just coming down here through the back straight. Down Starkey straight here, coming through the S's. This is again the curbs on the inside there are really bad. You can see the car just leaning left and right, and if you hit them wrong, you can certainly get the wheels off on the side. So we're starting here with Alex on his very first lap, coming down here into Redgate turn number 1, all the way over to the left, literally using the exit lane of the pit lane, coming out there to maximize the corner, getting through the corner, putting back on the power, full power through turns 2, 3, coming down here at the end of the crane of curves into turn number 4, the old hairpin. So literally all the way over to left onto the blue curve, trying to cut that inside corner to literally open it out for you before coming up Starkey Bridge here through turn number 5, up through turn to turn 6. Coming up to McLean's in turn number 7. So again, like I said, it's pretty much all uphill, this section of the track. Just feathering the throttle through turn number 7, just to make sure you don't go out too wide before coming up to the blind crest, really, of turn number 8. Before you get onto the back straight, you could say, start finish straight extended, Starkey straight here, coming down here into the S's. So really got to have your braking marker done correctly so you don't overshoot this corner. Trying to get as much as they can onto the corner before coming around there onto the start finish straight. And we can see there the time for Alex as he crosses the line is 7th place with a 1:18.325. You see Thomas Wangen at the top there at the moment on a 1:16. Let's join on board with Thomas and just watch the differences of line between Alex that we just watched and our pro leader Thomas Wangen at the way, and obviously currently at the top. 0.3 of a second faster than Stuart Winus, our top pro in second. Kieran Smart in third, 0.09 of a second behind Stuart, with Dec Crowther there in 4th place. Our top pro-am driver at the moment, just shy of 0.2 off Kieran Smart there in 4th place. Stuart Gibbons in 5th, Lee King McGee in 6th. Our top am is Alex Patricio, who we just actually watched on stream. So he is our top am. No, he's not. Stuart Gibbons is there in 5th place, 0.2 of a second slower than Dec Crowther, which is an excellent lap for Stuart on board. But let's have a look to see. You can see the difference in line. Literally, Thomas taking all of the inside, getting really wide on the exit there, and I think that was why he's stopped the car to go back to the pits, because that was not a great start for himself on the opening lap. But back up with Stuart Winez, currently 3rd out on track, 0.2 of a second. Last lap time was a 1:17.424. Still remains in 3rd place. So looking further down, as we see Kieran Smart there going to 2nd place. Steve Pearce there jumping right up into 4th place. So splitting Kieran and Dec Crowther there in that Pro-Am field. So a great lap there for Stuart Pearce. Steve Pearce, sorry, of Reckless Abandon, who manages to jump up to 2nd overall. Stuart Winez is probably on his 3rd lap now, currently 4 minutes 52 seconds into this qualifying session. 10 minutes the drivers have, 3 laps only. So it's all about making sure you get that first banking lap in, get that lap in, and then you can actually push on for your 2nd and 3rd. If you make a mistake on that first one, you're really then under pressure to perform. We've currently got 4 drivers that have not made times at the moment. Gordon Haig, Vegard Olsen, Alexander Scaretz, and Andy King McGee R1. Hi, John Cook. Welcome to the stream, and welcome to all the rest of our viewers on our chat. So sit back, enjoy, grab the popcorn, grab your beer or a can of cold juice if that's what you prefer, and enjoy what will be an entertaining 3 20-minute rounds coming up very shortly. But just trying to see if we've got more people out on track. I don't believe. Let's have a look. I'm sure we will have some. We certainly do, as we watch Vegard Olsen here coming over the line, 16th place, so P4 in class. So P4 in the Anfield. He comes home in 16th. We got Tom Herridge there in 5th place. 6th place overall, 3rd in the Pro-Ams. I had a great round out in Brands Hatch, so it's going to be interesting. Got a bag of Maltesers. Can't be the Maltesers, can you, Jono? But no, 6 minutes into this qualifying session, I think that relatively quite a few of the drivers have still have done their 3 laps, so they are pretty much done. We're just watching a few more drivers. We've got Dan Sedgley from Olympus Esports has managed to get himself up to 3rd place. We saw the top 3 here, Thomas Wang and Kieran Smart and Daniel Sedgley were the 3 main rivals, I would say, in the opening round at Brands Hatch. Kieran took a 1 lap to get into the throw of things, but then sort of got his stride into race 2 and 3 and has started off with a bang here tonight at Donington Park, managing to put it on P2. Only 600ths of a second behind Thomas Wangan for that lead. Daniel Sedgley coming around. Look at that. I mean, that's how much the pro drivers are pushing it. Literally, Daniel there getting it completely wrong coming out, and a very easy mistake to make on this Donington racetrack. That pesky S's at the end, them curbs on the inside. If they were smooth, it'd be such a fast corner to go through. The drivers would literally be able to go flat out, but with them curbs coming up, it's certainly interesting on top. But we're watching here, Craig Salter currently a little bit off the pace, down in P16, 6th in the Pro-Am field. So does have a little bit of time to make up. You can sort of see the timings in the time chart super close throughout the whole field. I think the only one off a little bit off the pace is Andy King McGee, 3 seconds off. But apart from that, it's all covered by probably round about, not far off, a second. So the whole field sort of nearly just split by just over a second on the track. So I mean, that is just amazing. That shows how competitive this field is, even between the different classes that are out there, that they are super close out on track. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens during the race. So I believe that we've not got many drivers on track. We've got Craig at the moment. He's the only driver, so he's pretty much got the track to himself. Let's have a look. Is he still going for a flyer here? Yes, he is. Let's sit back and enjoy the dulcet tones of the Clio going around a lap of Donington Park. So there's Craig there coming up to the start-finish line there, finishing his lap. Does he move up a position? Could ideally do. It wasn't a bad lap, really. The cars sound really good, you know, for a little tin-top car. But it's a great car to drive if you haven't driven it, and it's one of them cars you want to drive. But Mark, thank you for joining us, and I'm glad this is the highlight of your Thursday. It is a great event. So let's have a look at the grid here for race number 1. And on pole position, we got Thomas Wangham from IGL Coatings, Kieran Smart from Track Scotland in 2nd, Dan Sedgley in 3rd from Olympus Esports, Stuart Winness in 4th from Track Scotland, Steve Pearce from Reckless Abandons in 5th, Tom Herridge in 6th, the Privateer. In 7th, we've got Alexander Scarrett. 8th, we got Dec Crowther. In 9th, we got Gordon Haig. 10th, got Kim Andre Borkland with Alex Patricio in 11th, our top AM driver. Lee King McGee in 12th place overall. In 13th place, we got Michael Goff. Stuart Gibbons in 14th. Velga Olsen in 15th. Craig Salter in 16th. Yves Frederick in 17th. Leah Anderson in 18th with Paul Joseph Clist in 19th with Andy McGee in 20th. To round out our top 20 in this race, and it's going to be an interesting race, that is for sure, as the drivers all start to get out. And let's have a look where the blimp is at the moment. We can see the wonderful layout, lovely sunny day, pretty much like it is in the UK been today. It's been a super hot day, so what better way to see a bit of fast racing around Donington that's looking very splendid with not a lot of clouds in air. The track temperature, let's have a look at the track guide of the weather. It currently is 31 degrees, so getting a little bit toasty out on track. This may get hotter as race 2 and 3 progresses, but we'll sort of monitor that on track as we watch them all. We can see them all lined up nice and neat. I wonder how long they'll stay like that on the track map, or if they get really far spread out. As we just look at the front of the field, and we're still yet to see Thomas Wangen and Alexander Scarrett join the field for this race number 1. Do have a minute and a half to get on the grid, but it's going to be certainly interesting to see coming down into Redgate turn number 1. What happens there is Thomas Wangen in, so that's all drivers back on field, and we get the lights. We are nearly ready to race here in round number 2 in the Performance Link CLIO Cup, and the lights go out and they are away. A great start there from Thomas Wangen, managing to keep the first place. It looks like a little bit like Steve Pearce has been able to get up onto Stuart Wenness, maybe get that inside line here into turn number 1 and gain that 4th position. He does, manages to push him out, but gets it slightly wrong. Looking further back, all the drivers are being relatively nice around the first round. It is all side by side here as we look round, and we're currently on board here with Lee King McGee coming down through the Craner curves for the very first time. Let's watch the front runners coming through the old hairpin, a little bit less treacherous probably in this car than it is like on a GT3 or a very much faster car, but still got to watch out as we see Kieran Smart putting a lot of pressure in these early stages on Thomas Wangen in this first race. So we've got no real changes in the top 6. It's Thomas Wangen, Kieran Smart, Daniel Sedgwick, Stuart Wenness, Steve Pearce, after trying to get past Stuart Wenness there on the first corner, still stays in 5th place, with Tom Herridge in 6th place. Overall, the biggest move of the track is Gordon Haig, up 2 positions from where he started. Currently in P7, 4th in that Pro-Am field. Looking further back, there's a little bit of jostling. Craig Salter manages to get up 2 places from where he started out on track. So he's got a little bit of ground to make. Leah Anderson, our only driver, driving the Elmo car, as I like to call it. They're in currently P17. Just managed to get past Paul Joseph Cliss. We're having a really good battle here with Paul Joseph Cliss coming down the end of this first lap back into Redgate turn 1. Leah does have the inside line, but then you will get the overshot here from Veergaard Olsen to try and get that. As we see a little bit of a spin in the background. How easy is that? I think that was that Paul Joseph Cliss, or was that Stuart Gibbons going off in the back? I think that was Veergaard Olsen. Let's have a look. I think we have a replay here. Let's have a look. It was Veergaard Olsen fighting out with Leah Anderson. Gets slightly out on that kitty litter. Just bangs into Leah, but Leah manages to save the car and spins it around at Redgate. So a relatively minor incident there, but we'll demote him back to the end of the grid. But looking back at the front, wow, what has happened here to Thomas Wangen? Thomas Wangen is right back down into 10th place. Let's have a look here of what happened. Looks like we do have an incident with our leader, Thomas Wangen, the 3-time winner out in Brands Hatch, coming down the Craner curve side by side. Is this the first incident at the old hairpin? Oh, literally both of the drivers trying to go for the same corner and make contact on the entrance, and that is the 2 leaders there, Kieran Smart and Thomas Wangen, who were fighting for 1st and 2nd, are taken out through the old hairpin, and this is now going to be a race of recovery for both Thomas Wangen, who finds himself in P19th at the moment. Kieran Smart currently in P15th after that. I'm not sure who was to blame for that, but that's not what we're here for. This commentator, should I say, that will be looked at in the protests, that for sure. But that is a big moment in this first race, because it can obviously put yourself down to the rest of the races being at the back of the grid. So that it's an unusual one for Thomas Wangen to make a mistake, but currently finds himself down in P19. Current leader and profiting from that is Stuart Winness, currently in first place, 0.7 of a second over Steve Pearce, who's managed to get up 3 places as well. So the top 3 at the moment being occupied by the Pro-Am driver. The top Pro driver is Dan Sedgley, currently there in 4th place, probably rubbing his hands as well, because the points scoring system in this event is not done by overall finishing position, it's where you finish in your class. So there's 15, 14, 13 for first, second, third, all the way down to 0 points in the class. So at the moment, Dan Sedgley is currently 3rd. As we can see, the battle going on in the background. I mean, look at this free wide coming down the crater curves there. It's all over the place. Dan Sedgley on the inside here into the old hairpin, side by side with Gordon Haig. Almost a replica of the Thomas Wangen incident, but these drivers managed to get round all nice and safely. So look at that. Who's that? That's Kim Andre Borkland. Let's have a look at him. He looks like he has absolutely just gone off the track. They're coming out of turn number 5, coming up through Starkey Bridge. Was Kim Andre Borkland literally getting it completely wrong there and losing a lot of positions back down to 10th place. But you can sort of see how close they are all the way from P2 all the way down to P9th. They're literally about 0.3 of a second, 0.2 of a second between each one of them. Let's go on board with Gordon Haig here and see what it's like being in the mix of that. Look at the cars literally taking all the curbs they possibly can. This car can take some punishment, that's for sure. Here as we join on board with Gordon Haig, currently in 4th place, looking forward at Tom Hetridge in 3rd place with Daniel Sedgley, the leading car here. But that has given a really good opportunity. You can see in the timing tower, Stuart Winness currently in 1st place, 3.7 seconds ahead of this battle that we're currently watching out on track. But it's amazing how close of a racing and how quickly cars can get away when other cars are trying to defend and fighting. As we watch there, Gordon Haig going extremely wide there, coming out of the old hairpin, losing a lot of time, losing 2 positions in the process there. No, that was Tom Henrich, sorry, losing 2 positions in the process, down to P5th overall. So a bit of a mistake there for Tom coming around the old hairpin. Lucky to keep it on the track, so probably losing 2 positions is not bad. And looking up onto the inside now of Gordon Haig, so putting a lot of pressure is Tom on Gordon Haig for that 2nd place in the Pro-Am field. Looking further back then at the Am field, Yves Frederick is currently in P8, the Am driver. He's 2nd. In fact, he's 2nd. Alex Patricio's having a great round up there in 3rd place. Oh, well, just commentator Kirsten, because we can just see him coming down the front. Let's have a look, see what happened to Alex here. Literally flashing his light to one of the Am drivers in front. I think that is Andy King McGee. Oh, gets hit from the car behind. Taken out into the S's after trying to pass Andy Key McGee, and I think that will be his car damaged. Looks like he's not going very fast here down the start finish straight. So after a great start for him, he's tucked back in, finds himself currently down in P11. So not all end, he's currently still in 2nd place in that Am field, which promotes what I thought was the Am leader, Yves Frederick, up to the actual Am leader. Now currently in P8th, under a little bit of pressure there from the Sim Racing Norway member of Kim Andre Borkland, the pro driver, but he's not really fighting it. And that's the thing with these races, just need to be understanding of, is that, you know, if somebody else is around him from their class, is that they'll be fighting him. If not, just let the drivers through, and that's where you can cause the least amount of incidents going out. So Yves Frederick's currently leading the way. Alex Patricia, let's have a look at his car to see. Let's go on board with him to see if there's any sort of damage after that incident on that S corner and the previous lap. Seems to have got back up to speed, does Alex, currently P2nd. Will be probably a little bit annoyed about that, getting the taken out from behind. But yeah, a few of the drivers there are looking at Leah Anderson, who's Coming out, oh, as Alex hits into the back of Kieran Smart there. Leah Anderson not having the best of rounds here. Currently getting lapped. Oh no, was that literally got tagged again? I think that was from Leah coming down through the Craner curves. We'll have a look back at that because obviously we're looking on board. Let's have a look. Not having all the incidents at the moment is Alex. We are looking here, coming down through the Craner curves. Oh, I think it was Craig Salter that was the one that tagged the back of Alex. Man, did a great job there to keep the car on, going sideways, coming down into the... Just getting back on track, coming down into the old airpin. So it's certainly been in the wars at the moment as Alex finds himself currently down in P13, third in class. So from first down to third in probably... in the matter of the same amount of laps on track. So let's have a look at the track map. You know, we saw how close they were at the start. They're still relatively close. Some of the back markers obviously getting in the way. We got Deck Crowther there in the 20th, 3 laps down and out. What happened to him? Our current leader in the Pro-Am field. Let me just see if I can find Deck to see if I'm not... Did he take to the grid? I'm not sure. Not quite seeing... Oh, wait a minute there. Oh, here we go. Let's have a look to see what happened to Deck Crowther. He was... Oh, the S's. Literally, contact was made between the two. Hitting, I think that's Craig as well. Spinning the car around. Stops out of the wall and goes back to the pit. So... yeah, not the best of first races there for Deck. The drivers do have their fast repair to be able to use, but I think he's decided to be out, which is probably a bad decision to be fair, because every round is scoring points. The drivers do not get any drop rounds for this race, so points are all important. So if Deck is... listening in on YouTube, I would probably advise you to get back out there, mate, and just finish the race to be able to score the points. Because I think if you're 5 laps or more down from your class leader, that's where you don't score points. So that would be a bad day at the office for Deck if that was the case there. But looks a little bit of an issue that S's in the last couple of corners here at Donington Park that seems to be causing a lot of issue for the drivers and a lot of incidents being cut up. I think that was a bit unfortunate. The one we saw with Alex was trying to overtake one of the back markers, which was Leah Anderson too. So, yeah, but she's actually in 11th place, so that might have been for a pass and move. I'm not quite sure. I might have done Leah, our only female on the grid, a little bit of injustice there. So I do apologise. But at the front, Stuart Winness's lead of 3.7 seconds has been eroded by Dan Searchy there in second place to the tune of 1.5. So Dan, after sort of shaking off all the other Pro-Am drivers that were in close proximity to him, you see there Stuart Winness literally taking air on one side of his cars coming through the S's, is coming down, and Dan is on a charge. He's got around about 8 minutes left to make an impression to see if he can get that podium position here in race number 1. But these two drivers, like I said, are of different classes. So, you know, it's just the pride of whoever wants to come first to say they've actually won a race here in the Performance Link CLIO Cup for round number 2 at Donington Park. So at the moment, it looks like Stuart Winness, but Dan is eating in to that advantage that Stuart Winness has got. Then a bit of a gap back to Tom Hetridge here in third place, 6.1 seconds, who has Gordon Haig for a little bit, and these two are in the same class, so these two will be fighting for position overall and the points advantage that comes with that. So a little bit of inter rivalry here between Tom Hetridge and Gordon Haig, the two Pro-Am drivers. Looking a bit further back, we've got Kim Andre Borkland, who does have his teammate behind him, or teammate in front, Gordon Haig, so has his countryman behind him, should I say, Alexander Scorette from IGL Coatings there just trying to follow him up, and Kieran Smart, after that earlier incident with Thomas Wangen, has managed to make his way up into P7th overall. So 4th in class, which is not too bad. Thomas Wangen, as we can see back there, in 13th still, so he's going to have a hard day at the office. So certainly not going to all go his own way here tonight. He will be starting if he doesn't improve his position. He is 1.6 seconds off the back of Alex Patricio there in 13th place, we can see, and so if he finishes where he is, he will start the second race in P13th, which is probably uncharted territory for Thomas Wangen, but I suppose that's what you get for a little bit of argy-bargy in the opening laps here. But it's quite hard to come back because these cars are all fixed setups, so the setups are identical, so it's down to driver skill. Although we know he's a very quick driver, it's a different matter when you've got quite a few cars out in front of you. Looking further back the field then, we got Paul Joseph Clist. We have got his name right this week, so it did say List last week, but there's Paul back in P16, currently 5th in the AM field, 2.1 second off the Pro-Am driver in front of him, Steve Pearce, who had a great start, down 10 positions from where he started. So Steve's been in a bit of an incident somewhere in this opening race. Will find himself at the back of the field as we see Leah Anderson going into the pits as well. So as she had an incident, let's have a look at what happened to Leah. Oh, another slight tag. Where is that? I think that is round turn number 7. McLean's gets spun around. I think probably deciding that's enough and going back to it. Nope, she starts and then decides, stops and goes back to the pits. So a few drivers going out of this race very early on, and obviously losing a lot of points in the process out there. Has Deck managed to get around? No. I think we've got Andy King McGee still managing to go around, currently in P19th. You know, very new to the iRacing scene, so very much trying to learn his craft here in the CLIO Cup. Has been lapped by the drivers, but it's good to see him still out on track, still putting in the lap times, and that's how you get better in iRacing. Is you're not always going to be the fastest driver out on track, but certainly if you put the effort in, it'll start coming to you later on. But back up to the front of the field, and that gap has grown between Stuart Winness and Dan Sedgley to 1.9 seconds. So Dan must have had a little bit of an incident around one of the corners, but finds himself 2 seconds off. So 4 minutes left of here, so around about 3 laps of Donington to go in this first race. And Stuart Winness, after the earlier escapades, finds himself at the lead with a healthy lead, and winning his and leading his class as well. So for the Track Scotland driver, it's been a great day at the office in this first race. Still needs to come bring the car home, but at the moment it looks like it's going to be all down to him if he can win or if he loses this race. If we look further back then, the biggest battle out on track is between Tom, Kim and Kieran here for 4th, 5th and 6th. Kieran just slightly got off the back, but Kim Andre Borkland is still trying to get the passing move here done on Tom, and Tom is very much looking at the back now of Gordon Haig's car to try and get that P2 spot in the Pro-Am field. But this is probably one of the closest battles out on track between these 3 drivers of Gordon and Haig. Tom Hetheridge, Kim Andre Borkland for 3rd, 4th and 5th overall. Kim obviously in the pro field, currently running around in second place, so we'll be getting some extremely valuable points in that pro championship. Just looking further back, Thomas Wangen's managed to make up a couple more positions into P11th. Alex Patricio, after his earlier escapade, still managing to secure that 3rd place in the AM battle. So after his couple of early incidents, is still up there in P3. So won't be that far behind starting race number 2, behind his rivals of Ease Fredericks and Stuart Gibbons, who's currently running around in 2nd place for Blade Designs. Blade Designs obviously have the Stuart Gibbons and Deck Grotho, who are currently leading the team championship, and it's probably the right thing to do in these team championship overall, where the top 2 drivers score. So if you've got 2 drivers in different classes that are relatively quick and on the pace, then that's how we can see Blade Designs currently leading the way in the team championships. But moving back up to Stuart Winness, currently got 2 minutes left as they're coming back down to Starkey Straight into the hairpin, or is that... Yes, it is. So coming through the S's now, probably the white flag. Let's see if we see Barney, the flagman, on the left-hand side. Is this the last lap of the race? Can't see him. No, he's not flashing it yet. So we're going to have another lap around this track for Stuart Winness, and currently the gap is still around about 1.8 seconds back to Daniel Sedgley in second place, but it's going to be a great points haul for Daniel at the moment because his 2 main rivals, Kieran Smart is probably the one that's made the biggest move here, managing to get back up into 7th place, so having a good fight here with Alexander Scaret, who this will be a fight for points in for Kieran after that earlier issue with, or tangle with, Thomas Wangan around the old hairpin coming down that straight. So a little bit of coming together, and I'm pretty sure that will go in as a protest, and we'll review that on the pit stop next Wednesday. As we join back up with Stuart, he's now coming down Starkey Straight, coming into the S's for what should be the last time. And look at that, look at the gap come down. So Stuart Winness has made a slight issue on the track, down to 0.3 of a second. So Daniel Sedgley has a good opportunity here. Oh, what happened there? Is that a slowdown or something for Stuart Winness? As we look out on track, it is the final lap. I'm not quite sure. It must have been a slowdown for Stuart Winness on a corner that has given the opportunity in this first race win here to Daniel Sedgley. I can't see anything on track that would say what happened, but yeah, all the drivers coming into the pit lane there. Are they having to get a splash and dash of fuel here in this race? They all got the fixed setup, so it's going to be interesting. Let's have a look to see that. Yes, literally, they've not got enough fuel. So Daniel Sedgley has managed to get it. So if you've got really good fuel management in this race, then basically you could be gaining some real good positions. But literally, about 7 or 8 cars there just diving in the pits on the last lap. It could be even that it was a drive-through, but I'm just having a look at the pit stop timings. No, around about 4 or 5 seconds for each of the drivers. So yeah, certainly not looking after the fuel, and I suppose that's the joys of the practice. But here is our race winner for race number 1. It is Dan Sedgley of Olympus Esports, managing to pick up the first win here of the 3 races around Donington Park. Alexander Scaret in second, Stuart Winness in third. So that's a bit of an upset for him, but he still manages to get a podium position, still top of the Pro-Ams, and was probably one of the drivers that managed it. He may have sort of run out of fuel slightly, but had enough just to get over the line, as we can see them all coming through the start-finish. Poor Joseph Klisk becomes our top Am, and this is what it all comes down to, is the practice. He was in 5th place in that Am. All the rest of the Am field literally dove into the pits to get the fuel. Poor Joseph Klisk didn't, and has managed to take the race win here. So tactics are all important when it comes to these sort of races, and what we do like to give them is that challenge out on track, that they've got to manage the setup as it is. They all know the setup, they've all got access to the setup, so if they've done a little bit of practicing on track, then they will be able to tell if they can make it round, or if there needs to be a little bit of fuel saving. Now a lot of the drivers will know that I need to fuel save a little bit on this second race to get round, otherwise I'm going to have to come into the pits. So that really shook up the field there, that late pit stop. You just saw them all dive into the pits. I wondered what they were doing, but then I realised that they probably didn't have the fuel out on track. So that's where we're at. Let's have a look at the results there quickly of heat number 1. So Daniel Sedgley first, Alexander Scarrett, Stuart Winness in third, top pro driver, Thomas Wangen in fourth, Kieran Smart, Michael Goff, Leaky McGee, top AM driver, Paul Joseph Cliss, Eads Frederick in ninth, Kim Andre Bolton 10th, Alex Patricio in 11th, Gordon Haig, Tom Henridge, Steve Pearce, Virgil Olsen, Craig Salter, Stuart Gibbons, Andy Lee McKee, rounding out your top 18 drivers with 2 retirements. But that is the positions for race number 2. And it's literally getting the drivers on track. As you can see, I'm all lining up here for race number 2. So pretty much fired through them results to get back onto track. I'm going to take a quick slurp of a drink here for my poor parched voice. But that certainly threw it up there as we look at the lights coming on green. So we've got Daniel Sedgley in first place, who we're currently watching. Alexander Scarrett from IGL Colton's in second. Stuart Winness in third as they race down here into Redgate's turn number 1. Literally 3 wide just behind Daniel Sedgley. They're coming around Redgates. Daniel managing to get a decent start. Alexander Scarrett still keeping that second place, and we look like a bit of an incident in the background. Let's have a look at that. We've got Gordon Haig there off. We've got Paul Joseph Clist, who had an excellent start, has found himself at the back of the field, and Deck Crofter there. I don't believe he actually started the race. So let's have a look at what happened at the start of this race. Let's have a look. It might have gone. Let's join on with Ease Frederick. Let's go on to the roll bar here, coming down into the first corner. He's got that inside line. Does he have... I mean, you just see the car. It just starts playing ping pong there. I think the inside car, I think that might be Alex Patricio, hit into Yves Frederick and then literally caused that domino effect down the field. And pretty much the back markers of the field went out. But I'm interested in find out what happened to Paul Joseph Clist as well. So let's see if I can find out what happened to him, because he was up in 7th place. Where is the start? If I can find what happened to him. I'm not sure unless did he actually join the field? I'm not quite sure. So bit of a strange one. But back out front, Dan Sedgley currently 2 seconds ahead of Thomas Wangen. I mean, where has Thomas Wangen come from? He started this second race in P11, so a great start for him. He really needed to make sure that he tried to get a decent start in this second race. He does have Kieran Smart behind him with Alexander Scarrett on the inside, teammate of Thomas Wangen, to try and give him some sort of rear guard support here. But Kieran Smart needs to make quick work of Alexander Scarrett to try and get onto the back of Thomas Wangen. As you can see, side by side, Kieran Smart and Alexander Scarrett coming up here into turn number 7, McLean's. And Kieran managing to get that inside line there to get the faster speed out there. Coming up here into turn number 8. Around the corner, and it looks like Kieran has managed to get that position secured. Alex is down in 4th place. So we have the usual top 3 at the start. Daniel Sedgley in first, Thomas Wangen in second, and Kieran Smart. So when these drivers all manage to get back in touch with each other, I'm pretty sure we're going to have an intense battle at the top end of the field, as long as they can keep it clean and not take each other out. But looking further back the field, Steve Pearce up 6 places from where he started. He had a great start at first race, obviously got caught up in some sort of incident and trying to make his way back up. Currently in P8 overall is Steve Pearce here in 8th place from Reckless Abandoned Racing here on P8, so all close. You can see there from Kieran Smart all the way down to Stuart Gibbons in P12, all under a second. And as I say that, Kim Andre Bolton just tips over into a second over Craig Salter in 9th place, but then managed to duck under. So extremely close racing. This is what we love about these tin top cars with all on the same setup, is the closeness of racing. Even on the bigger tracks, it's still entertaining with these smaller cars. I think I remember doing a broadcast with the MX-5 around Spa, and to be fair, it was probably one of my most enjoyable races to commentate on in the Mazda, because it was just such good fun. With the slipstream effect of these cars is that it was just a passing fest on the straights, and it was very much down to the individual skills as they come through the S's again, hitting the curbs on the inside and the outside, the cars going left, cars going right, luckily all managing to keep on track and not cause any incidents to themselves or other drivers around them. So they start another lap, 4 minutes into this second race here. We currently have Thomas Wangen just put in the fastest lap of 1:16.94 seconds. So very much closing down the gap between himself and Daniel Sedgley in first place. After that pretty much disastrous first round, this could be a real good opportunity for Daniel Sedgley. We saw at the start he was only 2 points off Thomas Wangen, so that first race win for Daniel, and Thomas Wangen just basically being further down would give Daniel the edge here in this race 2 in that Pro Championship. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Can Thomas Wangen get past Daniel Sedgley for the race win to limit the points loss that he will undoubtedly get in this round if it finishes as is at the moment? And then obviously we still got race 3 to come out on track. So looking further back, top of your Pro-Am is Stuart Winness, currently in 5th. So could be is on for a double race win here. Does have 2 cars between himself and the second place Steve Pearce, who we've just been watching. You can see he's quite close. He's it's the black car that we're watching on screen, and he's chasing the blue and orange car, 2 cars in front for the lead in that Pro-Am field. Looking further back then for the Am field, Virgil Olsen, currently in P11th, top Am driver, is followed closely by Stuart Gibbons in 12th, up 5 positions from where he started. Yves Fredericks just at the back of this trio of cars, just dipping under the second behind Stuart Gibbons, in front of him in P20 for the top 3 positions in the Am overall. Just looking further back, Tom Heritage, after a decent first round, finds himself back down in, or decent start to the first round, should I say, finds himself 2 places down from where he started this second race in P15. P4 in class, chasing Leah Anderson, the Elmo car that we're watching on screen. So looking onto the inside is Tom to get the position done, but Leah will not give that position lightly there. But great livery with Elmo on there for Leah as these two battle out further down the positions for the lower positions in that Pro-Am field. Alex Patricio, after his great start and many incidents in round number 1, finds himself P16, 4th in class overall, 5 positions down from where he started. Oh, there was look at an incident there from Leah through the S's, which has handed the position to Tom, and Alex has managed to dip in front of Leah as well. So Leah not really enjoying this track, I don't think, here at Donington. Struggling a little bit. Still going to score some valuable points is Leah, currently P5 in that Pro-Am field. Andy King McGee, currently P6 of the Am at the moment. Still on the same lap as the rest of the drivers. So improving all the time. So keep going, Pops. I'm sure you'll get faster. Still in P18, so ahead of Gordon Haig, the pro, and obviously Deck Crawford didn't join us here in this second race. It's a bit unfortunate for him. Our leader coming into this round from Blade Designs, but unfortunately deciding to call it a day. So there is Andy King McGee, father of Lee King McGee, who's currently up in P6 at the moment, P5 in that pro field from AKM Racing. Probably finding it a different class than the GT3s, who's having an exceptional season. Very first league race. This is his second league season on there, both with Performance Link, and it's having a great outing in the GT3, currently leading the way in the Pro-Am by a considerable margin, and seems to be able to buy in all the luck in that series. This one, on the other hand, is a little bit different. We've moved him up into the Pro category. Currently finds himself in P6, P5 in the Pro category overall. But I'm pretty sure he's enjoying these little cars a lot different than the hour and 10 races in the GT3s that we have on a Sunday night. Looking further back at the front, and Thomas Wangen has managed to get past Daniel Sedgley. So has closed that gap down, managed to get back out in front, and the usual suspects of Wangen, Sedgley and Smart are all covered by 4/10 of a second. So this is going to be some really entertaining race here. Not not quite another minute up to halfway distance in this race number 2, but a great recovery drive for Thomas Wangen, and I believe we can actually have a look on board. Let's have a look at his rig on board. There he is. Exceptional rig that he has. He's got lots of flashing buttons, obviously stream decks there and a great little addition is that timing box he has in the middle, just in front of his steering wheel. He did show that on stream once, and it was a real good insight into how the tactics and what they gave him overall here. But Thomas Wangen's managed to have a great recovery drive here in the second race, managing to get past Daniel Sedgley. He is currently up 3 places from where he started at the start of this race. So a great recovery after that first. Was it he finished round? I'm trying to think where he finished out on track in that first race, but nevertheless, he is currently leading this second race with Daniel Sedgley in second, 0.3 of a second. Then you got Kieran Smart. Let's ride on board with Kieran. Just get a view of the battling between the cars out in front as they come down Starkey Straight into the S's, turn number 9 for the fourth time in this round. Now look at them, the difference between the Pro and the Ambs. Let's try and go on board with we got there. Let's go with Tom coming down. So this is the difference. Probably still take the lines the same as the Pros, but probably a little bit more conservative. We'll look from the outside here from Tom. But you can see how much the Pros clatter them curbs, and the rest of the field literally try and take it a little bit more finesse. But these Pro drivers are literally on the ragged edge, just try to get the fastest times they possibly can. And with these 3 drivers currently pulling away from Alexander Scoret in 4th place, it is a 3-horse race. But we did see what happened in race number 1, and mistakes are easily made, which could put an end to not 1, 2, but could possibly all 3 of these drivers. So it's going to be interesting to see. 9 minutes left of this second race to go. Thomas Wangen leading the way, Daniel Sedgley second, Kieran Smart in first. Top Pro-Am driver is Stuart Winester in 5th place overall. He's having a great day at the office. Came 3rd overall, was winning. So I think he either ran out of fuel, limped it to the line, or basically he got a slowdown to let Daniel Sedgley through, and then obviously let the other driver through as well. But wasn't any points dropped for him, because it's obviously points are based on class positions overall. So it's interesting to see now that he is looking for a double race winner here. Is Stuart Winnes. He does still have Steve Pearce just behind him, which is there's Steve, just going around the same corner, but doesn't seem to be able to make any inroad over the AKM Racing drivers in front of him, Aliki McGee and Michael Goff, the 2 Pro drivers in front. And great job on the livery for the AKM. Always do a great job. But there's some great liveries out on track. But Steve's is looking rather black. Or maybe slight brown, I would say that is, maybe. I don't know. But it's very much a neutral colour for Steve, trying to leave it all out on track and doing his finesse in his driving. But currently in 2nd place in the Pro-Am field. Craig Salters in 3rd place overall. He's back there in 10th place. Only 0.3 of a second off the back of Steve Pearce. So there's a little bit of a battle going to be going on here as Steve's looking up on the inside here of Kim Andre Borkland into the S's. I'm thinking better of the passing move really as they start another lap. Needs to try and make a car gap between himself and Craig to give him that comfort blanket, because at the moment Craig is the one trying to chase down Steve for that 2nd place in the Pro-Am field. Looking further back then to the Am, Stuart Gibbons has managed to take over the lead of the Am race there in P11th overall. Will Vega Olsen Leah in 12th place and 2nd place in just behind Stuart Gibbons from Blade Design in 2nd place. In 3rd place, Alex Patrizio from Track Scotland in 3rd place overall in the Am. I mean, I feel a bit sorry for Alex because he was super quick in that first race, and a couple of incidents that very much didn't seem to be his fault demoted him down, and this second race he is currently down 3 places from where he started as well. So plagued with incidents at the moment is Alex, but still in P3, so that'll be I think it's 2 P3s he would have if he manages to keep it where he is at the moment. But we saw in that first race, if the drivers didn't do any fuel saving, the lap before the white flag, they all had to dive in to get a little bit of fuel, and poor Joseph Clist, who finds himself down in P15th, 4th in class, could still do it again. So he knows his tactics in his own head. A very astute driver, very clean, very methodical. He knows now that what he did in the first race worked for him. So it's going to be interesting to see come the last lap of this race if it has him. We're just looking at the front. Daniel Sedgley's managed to get a passing move back on Thomas Wangen, and Kieran Smart's looking for the same, coming through up through Starkey Bridge here, turn number 5, up through turn 6, coming up into McLean's. Is he going to look on the inside? Thomas Wangen on the inside here of Dan Sedgley, going side by side up into turn number 8. So it's a drag race that literally doing a little bit of wing banging, shall I say. Thomas Wangen managing to get his car up the inside, does it again, and here comes Kieran Smart on the inside of the two of them. Is he going to get a 2 for 1? Looks like he's managed to get in front of Dan Sedgley, although they're side by side coming down into the S's. Not an advisable position to be, guys, going side by side. Do they manage to get through? A little bit of squeeze in there, and a great exit there from Daniel Sedgley, who's managed to slingshot past Thomas Wangen through there. Maybe got a little bit of a helping hand from Kieran, a little bit of a nudge that give him that extra power, but Daniel Sedgley manages to get over the lead of this race. Thomas Wangen in second. Kieran Smart looking up on the inside through red gate of turn number 1. Has that inside line. Is he going to be able to make it pay? I think he probably will be able to, you know, because it's all the inside line track here coming down into the old hairpin, and manages to get it done. So Thomas Wangen going from first to third in a spate of 2 corners there, and finds himself on the fight again. Thomas Wangen goes extremely wide coming through the old hairpin, loses a lot of place, so this looks like it's given the opportunity at the moment. There's still 4 minutes left of this racing to go, and Kieran Smart has managed to take over the lead. These 3 are trading places on a lap basis. At the moment, Daniel Sedgley in second, Thomas Wangen in third. This is giving an opportunity for Alexander Scaretz, as you can see in the background there, to close the gap, bringing along with him Stuart Winness and Lee King McGee and Kim Andre Borkland. So where this was easily a 3-horse race, we can see them all now on screen. There's about 7 cars that are in the fray, and all within half a second of each other. So all the battling between the top 3 has really brought them back into play with the rest of the field. At the moment, Kieran Smart leads away. He's managed to get a 0.6 of a second gap between himself and Daniel Sedgley in second place. Thomas Wangen 0.4 of a second, but they start again 17 minutes into this lap, 3 minutes left of this race to go. Kieran Smart currently leading the way. Daniel Sedgley in second, Thomas Wangen, Alexander Scaret in third, and our top pro-am driver there, Stuart Winness, in 5th place overall. So he's doing great. Just look further back at the battle here for second place in the pro-am. Steve Pearce still managing to hold off Craig Salter for that second place overall, and the gap is sort of extending now out to close to a second, 0.9 of a second between himself and Craig Salter in 10th. Michael Goff just behind Craig in P10th. Our top AM driver has managed to sort of try to claw his way onto the back. So you can see there, just less than a second behind Michael Goff, which is a great advantage for him to be able to watch and follow the lines as they go through, with Vega Olsen probably assigned to that second place overall, 2.9 seconds off that. Let's join back up with the battle at the front of this grid. Kieran Smart still leading the way. Daniel Sedgley in second place. Thomas Wangen in third. 0.6 of a second. A little bit more of a gap now. Oh, as we see there, Kieran Smart getting it completely wrong through the S's. Dan Sedgley says, thank you very much. I'll take over the race lead again. I think he's going to lose another position here to Thomas, but does take that inside line, does Kieran, so should be able to keep that second. But Thomas Wangen going around the outside here of Redgate, managing to get the move done. So that slight little mistake there from Kieran Smart has demoted him from first place to second like Thomas Wangen a few laps ago in the space of 2 corners. So that's how fine the margins are in this CLIO Cup. Daniel Sedgley is leading this second race. I mean, it's such a topsy-turvy race, the three of them, because there's a little bit of a gap, starting to pull away again over the third place driver, who is now Stuart Winness. Alexander Skret has been demoted down to 6th place, so he's been involved in an incident. Lee King McGee is the top of the rest of the pack in P5th overall. But this is an intriguing battle at the front of this field. Dan Sedgley out in front, managing to maintain that 0.6 of a gap over Thomas Wangen. So the battle seems to be here for 2nd and 3rd overall in this second race, which is this would be a great result for Daniel Sedgley. 2 wins on the bounce. Currently 19 minutes, so I think we might have one more lap here. And this is where have the drivers got enough fuel to do the other lap. Let's see if any of them jump into the pits. I want to look further back. Let's have a look further back, and let's go to the blimp and see if any of the drivers come into the pit lanes. No, I think they've all learned from their mistakes in the first round, saving a little bit of fuel. Looking at Tom there, back in P13th overall. We do have Steve Pearce. I think he's gone into the pits. Yes, he has. So he's had to do a splash and dash. Steve doing an excellent job. But unfortunately has lost out on that 2nd place in the Pro-Am to Craig Soto, who's obviously managed his fuel. But let's join back up with the rather entertaining battle. Let's join on board with Kieran Smart, currently in P3, trying to chase down, looking at the back of Thomas Wangen's car. There's 0.2 of a second between Wangen and Sedgley, and then 0.3 between Wangen and Smart here. And this is the last lap, I believe, of the race between these drivers. So it's going to be a super close event coming down as they come down. There could be a back marker in front that could put a little bit, but I think he's a little bit too far in front to really affect this battle out on track. The top 3 coming down into the S's. Thomas Wangen looking, look at that, they're enough on 2 wheels, all 3 of them just going max as we coming up to the checkered flag, and it's going to be super close on the line. Daniel Sedgley gets it by 0.02 of a second from Thomas Wangen and 0.07 of a second with Kieran Smart. That was a super close finish there between the top 3. I mean, it was always going to come down to something like that out on track. Stuart Winness obviously getting the top place in the pro field overall, but wow, what a finish there to race number 2 between Dan Sedgley, Thomas Wangen and Kieran Smart. You can see there all 3 of them covered by 100th of a second. I mean, that is just insane. And Paul Joseph Clist at the moment, 2nd place he gets in the AM field. He's are they out on track still? I can't. Yes, they are. As we see, they're just coming across the field. So that's a 1st and a 2nd for Paul Joseph Clist. Great day at the office. And obviously, it looks like the big one that won out there was Velgol Olsen. He managed to not go into the pits. I think if I look at the pit strategy, Paul Joseph Clist didn't, so he must have been involved in an incident. Pit stoppers in that 2nd race was Steve Pearce, Alex Patrizio, Gordon Haig, Alex King McGee, Stuart Gibbons, Yves Fredericks and Leah Anderson were all the pit stoppers in that 2nd race. But I mean, wow. What a finish to this 2nd race. I'm glad we got 5 minutes now so I can sort of catch my breath. We can take you through the results here for that 2nd race. No, we can't, not yet. I don't think they've all come across the line. Where's Tom at? There he is. He's run out of fuel, coming across the line. Could do with some music here, couldn't we? Like, as we're watching Tom just eking out, trying to get across the line. He's just obviously trying to get a bit of stream time, I think, is Tom coming down. Where in fact is he? There we go. I think he took too long as coming out. But let's have a look at the results here for the 2nd race. And wow, what a finish there. You can see Daniel Sedgley wins by 9 thousandths of a second over Thomas Wangen in second place. Kieran Smart in third place, only 8 hundredths of a second off Wangen. You can see how close those top three were in that race. I mean, you can see the commitment coming through the last set of S's. I think all three of them got onto two wheels, but Daniel Sedgwick manages to make it 2 from 2 here at Donington Park. In fourth place and top of the pros is Stuart Winness from Track Scotland. Lee King McGee in 5th, Alexander Scrett in 6th, Kim Andre Bolton in the 7th, and Michael Goff in 8th. Second place in the Pro-Am, Craig Salter in race number 2. Steve Pearce managed to get P3, so even though he had a pit stop, still manages to secure that P3. Velga Olsen Leah wins out in the AMS with Paul Joseph Clist getting a second. So a good day at the office for Paul, a first and a second here in race number 2. Alex Patrizio in third place. So after his escapades, probably in race 1 and 2, would be liking a nice clean race in race number 3. Gordon Haig in 14th, Tom Herridge in 15th, Andy McKee 1 lap down in 16th, and then we got Stuart Gibbons P17th, East Frederick in 18th, and then at the back of the grid we had, I think it was Leah and Dec Grofer, who's unfortunately decided to pull out for the race. But wow, what a race that was. You can't get any better than that, I think, when it comes to racing. And I think that's what these cars do, is promote them awesome racing out on track. To be able to give us super close finishes. It's all down to slipstreaming, who can maintain the speed, and that's why I really like these smaller cars out on track, is because it gives you that you've got to maintain your speed. It's very much like the Mazda, the Clios, where they've not got the maximum amount of powers like the GT3 cars or higher, or even the GT4 cars and higher. So if you make a mistake on the corner, you can power out of it. It very much holds you back. Yeah, Craig, I mean, that's what we like to do to you here. As he says, certainly interested in trying to fuel save as well as push. I mean, that's the fine margins you got to think of, Craig, isn't it? Is how much do I push? And is the person I'm fighting with? I mean, you certainly got that one 100% correct in race number 2. Obviously, the one that you were trying to fight with, Steve Pearce, had to come into the pits for more fuel, which give you that position. So great tactics there, Craig, in the second race. And looking forward to race number 3. And that's what we like to do. We don't like just the straightforward getting enough fuel, put loads of fuel in the car, be able to race around there. We like to give the drivers something a little bit to think about. And with limiting the sort of fuel, they had enough around Brands. It's a smaller track, but when we get to the bigger tracks here, it certainly is interesting whether we can get through. And we've already seen tonight that the guys have to fuel save ever so slightly to be able to make sure that they are able to finish this race on first and make sure they don't have to come in on that pit stop. So just having a look here of the schedule, so let you know what's coming up. So we do have Oulton Park, probably one of my favourite tracks here on iRacing, and it's going to be an awesome combination with this car as well. The Island Historic is the layout that we've chosen to race around there. So not all the way down to Shell Oil Corner, literally cutting it off through halfway down in fact, just before the turn in for the Island Bend, there's that big hairpin. So I'm expecting probably big carnage down there, certainly on them first up. It's going to be a yeeting spot, that's for sure. So that's going to be an interesting one for fuel. Then we go to Knock Hill Reverse. That's a smaller track, so certainly they should be able to get around there. Pretty much going to be like this one, or there'll probably be less of a concern over fuel. Before we end up in Brands Hatch again on the GP layout, and you know for sure that they're not going to have enough fuel to get around that without some severe fuel savings out on track. But that's all 5 rounds. Each round is 3 rounds within each. So overall, we got 15 races for these Clio Cup. That's 5 down that we've had so far. And it's been super entertaining here tonight. The first race, you know, Daniel Sedgley pretty much gifted after the incident between Stuart Winness and Thomas Wangen having the incident coming down into the old hairpin, taking them both out. Daniel says he didn't have it his own way in the second race, but certainly made up for it and managed to get that position. But let's have a look at the grid here in race number 3. So Daniel Sudsley is on first, Thomas Wangen in second, Kieran Smart in third, Stuart Winness in fourth, Lee King McGee fifth, Alexander Square in sixth, Kim Andre Ball at seventh, Michael Goff in eighth, Craig Sultan ninth, Steve Pearce in 10th, Vega Olsen in 11th, with Paul Joseph Clist in 12th place. In 13th place, we got Alex Patricio, Gordon Haig, Tom Hedridge in 15th, Andy King McGee in 16th, Stuart Gibbons in 17th, East Fedrick 18th, Leah Anderson in 19th, and Deck Crowther in P20th, but probably will not take the PO. So let's have a look to see if we can get a good bird's eye view here of the start of this race, as the lights do come on. It's a great position actually for the blimp to be in for a change as the race number 3 is underway, and that's a great start there from Thomas Wangen. Is coming up alongside Daniel Sedgley at the front of the race there. You can see coming down into Redgate Corner. It's a great aerial view now here of all the cars coming through, looking further down the field, all managing to get through on the first corner, but coming down through the Craner curves as we look down. Oh, that's Daniel Sedgley getting spun there on this opening lap. Really needs to try to recover our 2-race winner here tonight. This is going to put Pater winning the 3rd race as we get in. Oh, and absolutely gets clattered there through that. I think that was Alex Patricio again that got involved in that, and that might have been Tom Hedridge. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but that is absolutely disastrous for Daniel Sedgley, who was on for a 3-race win here, and looks like a little bit of an issue. Let's have a look, see if we can find out what happened. Let's have a look further back. Daniel Sedgley went off track. Here we go. Let's have a look, see what happened to Daniel. Coming down here into first corner, into Redgate, side by side with Thomas Wangen. Kieran Smart looking at the rear of the Daniel Sedgley's Olympus Esports, coming down through the Craner curve. Let's have a look. Oh, literally a contact there coming into the first turn in turn number 3. In fact, turn number 2 that was. And then all of a sudden, watch right left the screen, bang. That is, I think that is one of the Sim Racing Norway guys. I think that might be Vegard Olsen. We'll have a look from his position on track and see it on board. It was pretty bad, that one. Let's have a look at Vegard Olsen. I think this was his car. Let's no, we are not on with. Let's have a go. Let's have a look. I can try again. So on board with Vegard Olsen. I think this is the car. You can see Daniel Sedgley going off there to the left. Let's see what happens to Vegard here. I think he might. Oh, no, it wasn't his car. Yep, there we go. Oh, he did get involved in an incident just coming out of the old hairpin, so it wasn't him that handed. Oh, it must be then. It was Gordon Haig. 3rd time lucky here. Let's have a look. Gordon Haig. So it's Alex is the other one he has his issue to, that's just in front here. Now you see Daniel Sedgley there on the left-hand side, coming through the Craner curve down into turn number 3. Comes across, hits into Alex, and then that's where Daniel Sedgley is collected. So lots of incidents there. We always find them in these 3rd races overall, that we do. But Daniel Sedgley at the moment, the damaged car is up to P9th in this 3rd race. So a great recovery for him. He needs to try and get in front of his pro drivers, which are out in front. Kieran Smart, you can see there, is in P8th as well. So something's happened to Kieran. Let's see if I can find what happened to Kieran. It's all going off in this 3rd race here. So at the moment, Thomas Wangen is leading the way out front. Here we go. Here's Kieran Smart. Let's see what happened to Kieran. Coming down to the S's. Does he just take it a bit too hard? Let's have a look. I think he looks like he's already further back at the moment. So is this another incident for him? Wow. Oh, yeah, it gets completely wrong. Oh, what a great recovery save, though, from Kieran in this third race. So it's obviously before that the issue happens. Can I see where is Kieran? Don't think I can. No, I can't. It's not sure what happened to him, why he is so far down on track. But currently at the moment, Thomas Wangen is currently leading the way. Stuart Winness in second, Kim-Andre Bortland in third, with Lee King-McGee in fourth, and Alexander Scarrett at the back of this. Oh, as we see Lee King-McGee there getting a little bit of tangled up with Alexander Scarrett there. We're currently watching at the back of the bird's eye view with himself and Kim-Andre Bortland, but manages to save it. So that was a great save there from Lee King-McGee. I'm not sure what quite happened with that passing move. We can certainly watch it back. If I can find it. No, I can't. So we'll have to wait out on that one. And we can see there Daniel Sedgley has managed to move up. It's now on to the back of 3.7 seconds on to the back of Kieran Smart in 8th. So the top two protagonists, Smart and Sedgley, there in 8th and 9th. So we've seen Dan Sedgley's incident. I'm not quite sure what happened to Kieran. Currently down in P8. Was challenging with Thomas at the start of this race. So certainly has been caught up in some sort of issue. But there's been so many issues in this third race. It's hard to keep a track of them. But looking at... Wow, look at this for a turnout for the Bucks. Andy King-McGee is leading out the AM field. Go, way to go, Pops. I mean, a lot of the other AMs, it looks like they've had lots of issues. Alex Patricio there in P12. But at the moment, and please stand up and be counted, Andy King-McGee. You are currently leading the AM battle here in this third race of 20 minutes. I mean, that much carnage in the AM field. You can see them all there. Yves Frederick is out. Stuart Gibbons is out. Just looking further down, Leah Anderson is out of this race. So quite a few retirees in this third race, being super aggressive on that opening lap, coming down through the crane of curves and out of the old hairpin. Has caught up a lot of the drivers in a lot of incidents. But looking further back then, we got Steve Pierce down 3 places from where he started. Had a bit of a mixed bag as Steve from Reckless Abandoned there. Very much on the pace, but getting caught up in maybe a few incidents from himself. Just looking down, just like to get everybody on the stream if I can. You got Vegard Olsen there, who's currently in P4 in that AM. So the last survivor in that AM field at the moment that's still managing to go around is Andy McGee just. Oh, spinning it there. That is round turnable. Oh, watch out, Andy. Stop going out on track. So it looks like he's had an incident. Oh, it looks like involved with the 171 car. That is Gordon Haig. So let's see what happened between them two. So Andy, let's have a look. So coming down the start finish rate, you've got Andy on the inside. You've got looks like Gordon Haig. Oh, a little bit of contact. I think he was just trying to get his line there and really damages his car. I'd be very surprised if he's still able to continue on that car. But trying to get that outside line, and unfortunately just tagged Gordon and still battling out. But just shows the strength of his cars if he's still going around. We'll have a look now. He's currently finds himself in last place after that, but is still very much going around in an extremely battered CLIO Cup. I mean, certainly if you hit that corner at that speed in a GT3 car, that'll be lights out. But these little cars can take a good fair bit of damage. They do have fast repairs, but I suppose it's too much time lost in the pits to be able to do that. You can see the back end of that car is extremely damaged. Let's have a look on board to see if his steering's still straight. Is his steering straight? Or as he decides, you know what, I need to come into the pits to get my car repaired. But currently back out in front, Thomas Wangen, after his little mishap in race number 1, finds himself back up the front of this race. His two main Rivals, you can see there, Kieran Smart currently down in P6th, Daniel Sedgley in P9th, trying to make inroads, but unfortunately probably a little bit off and probably carrying a little bit of damage as well because it got severely hit. Let's have a look at his car. I think it's more the right hand side of his car. Yeah, you can see there the front right of his car completely damaged, out on track. The back end, what's that like? It's not too bad. It's all the front right where obviously that's where you're turning, so he may have a little bit of steering damage. Still coming around, still will score points from where he has, and overall not a bad day at the office, getting P1 in race 1 and 2, but probably really wanted to go for the 3 in 3 here, but that wasn't to be, so that might be a protest in there for Daniel at the end of the race, but it's probably put a little bit of a damper on him for this evening's racing. But yeah, Kieran Smart, not sure what happened to Kieran. Looks like something did. We obviously were looking at lots of incidents at the start of this third race, and yeah, he was in second place and then all of a sudden found himself around P10, but has managed to climb himself back up into P6 overall. But what it will do at the top of that pro stands is it'll make it a lot more closer and a lot more interesting going into the later rounds. Like I said, there is no drop rounds at all in this league. So every single round counts and every single round matters. So it's all about being consistent and being able to make sure that you stick on pace. As we join back up with Lee King McGee, currently in P4, P3 overall in the pros. See there, Kim-Andre Bortland just diving down the inside of Stuart Winness, taking that P2 overall. Thomas Wangan not quite getting away, only 1.6 seconds ahead of Kim-Andre Bortland. Lee McGee is currently third in that pro. And Stuart Winness has had a great day at the office, winning, I think he won race number 2, I believe so. This could be race number 3 for him. So at least one of the guys has probably had a win, but I won't commentate a curse, touch wood. There's still 9 minutes left of this race to go. Finds himself in P3, super quick and competitive out on track. So some valuable points there for Track Scotland in the team championship as well. So it's going to be an interesting team battle come the last round of the season. Looking further up, we got Michael Goff from AKM Racing here in P7th overall, P6th in class, trying to chase down Kieran Smart in front of him. Michael, obviously one of our Pro-Am drivers in the GT3 Championship, has decided to throw his hand in the mix for these smaller cars. So it's great to see a lot of drivers trying different things out in the channel on other different series from Performance Link, but currently finds himself trying to chase down Kieran Smart, and that's going to be a tall order to get past the very quick Kieran Smart from Track Scotland there in P5. He looks like he's got a bit of a distance, 5.6 seconds to Alexander Scorette, who's further up. Alexander 1.2 seconds behind Lee King McGee in 4th, and like we just said, 5.7 seconds ahead of Kieran Smart in 6th place. So he's pretty much drawn around. He just needs to try, if he can, to close down that gap. So closest battle on track is this top 3 position between Kim-Andre Bortland, Stuart Winness and Lee King McGee. So that's the closest 3-car battle on track. You can see Michael Goff about half a second behind Kieran Smart. Got Steve Pearce trying to track down Tom. So these two have had a bit of a battle all day. Craig Salter currently leading the way in that, second in that Pro-Am field. I forgot Stuart was all the way up there in 3rd place. Craig is there in P2, and as you saw in the chat, it's he's in that position now to be able to fuel save. He's got 13.3 seconds ahead of this battle we're watching on screen at the moment between Tom and Steve. And these two have been having a good battle all day, so it's good when you're in these midfield battles with the rest, even though this is for P3 and P4 in the class. where they are currently out on track. It's always nice to have a little bit of a rivalry, and these two certainly have had that rivalry today. Alex Patrizio currently just behind him there, currently leading the way in the AM battle. Has been complete carnage in that AM field. You see Paul Joseph Cliss currently in second place. We've got Olsen there in third and Andy King McGee in fourth. We've lost Yves Fredericks and Stuart Gibbons in this third race after the carnage in that opening race. But, you know, even if you're out, you know, like I said, you score decent points, and it's not based on overall positions, it's based on class finishing positions. So even if you have to go back to the pits, it's worth coming out because it's still valuable points. And like I said, there's 0 drop rounds in this championship. So if you don't score any for one round, that's almost like you're going to be out of the championship just purely based off that. So bit unlucky that some of the guys are not coming around. But Leah's probably had a bit of a hard day at the office. Not really enjoyed the track car combination here today. Deck Crowther, first race, he probably got hit off there, and since then decided to just duck out of this one. But it's great to see Alex at the moment at the top of the tree. He was riding high in race number 1 earlier on before a couple of incidents that put him further down the field. But at the moment he is currently leading the way, round about 5 seconds ahead of Paul Joseph Clist in second place. 15 minutes gone in this third race. Sort of almost been neutralised a little bit with all the incidents in the first. Certainly not the heated battle that was race number 2. So sort of neutralised a little bit. This is the biggest battle going out on track at the moment. We're riding on board with Stuart Winness currently trying to track down Kim Andre Borkland, and does have the Lee King McGee, but they are different classes here. Stuart Winness is that Pro-Am driver, Lee King McGee and Kim Andre Borkland are the pros. So it's a Pro-Am sandwiched in between two pros here, and at the moment Kim Andre Borkland not quite eating into the lead of Thomas Wangan, 1.3 seconds. Still well within striking range if Thomas does manage to make a mistake. But at the moment, these three are battling over the top 2 positions in the race at the moment. We see there Tom going into the pits. Is this pit stop? I believe it probably is. A little splash and dash for Tom. In and out. Yep, so he didn't feel safe, but probably finds himself that he didn't really have to push as hard. Currently still in P5th overall in that championship. In fact, was he? I think he was behind. Yeah, he was in front of Steve Pearce, wasn't he? So has lost 2 positions in that Pro-Am, but it's nothing to say that Steve Pearce and Gordon Haig are still yet to go into the pits. Looking further back up here, Stuart Winness here and Lee King McGee side by side, coming down the start-finish straight here, coming into turn number 1 of Red Gates. Lee King on the left-hand side of your screen, Stuart Winness on the right. Stuart will probably just give the positions side by side into Red Gates. There's nobody. Oh, a car is going extremely slow. I think that is Andy King McGee there in the middle of the track going super slow, so almost like a rolling roadblock. What's that here? Let's have a look. Not sure what happened there, but has managed to get a little bit. It's probably just trying to get out the way of the drivers here. But yeah, that could have been disastrous for quite a few. Goes off again here through the old hairpin. Slightly offline, so still managing to get P4 overall after all the carnage in that Anfield. But could have caused a little bit of issue for drivers. Daniel Sedgley there, you can see just past him up into P8th overall. Not really making it. He's trying to catch Michael Goff in front. 3.6 seconds. He's just going to run out of time because we've only got 2 minutes left of this third race. Currently watching Thomas Wangan, who's currently in lead. I mean, it's just amazing how much these pros take these corners and clatter them. And still able to do. I think if I ever try to do that, I always hit the first one and just slide off into the corner. And you can see there a great use of all the track. Looking further back, Oh, I thought that was going to be a 3 wide here. Alexander Scaret has joined the battle. Pretty much out of nowhere, I think. Yeah. Summer side. Leaky McGee, a little bit of a tag. Alexander Scaret, some great skill to keep that. Stuart Ness is still keeping that 3rd place, but must be getting a bit nervous with these 2 pro drivers behind them being so aggressive towards each other. We saw a little tag there from Leaky McGee coming down the crane and curves. Great recovery from, or great skill from Alex to make sure he didn't spin that car around. I think Lee then obviously decided he'd made a slight little error, gave the position back to Alex to be able to carry on. But yeah, Alex now up onto the back end of Stuart Winness, 0.3 of a second. And we should be coming around. Where is Tom? He is coming down to the S's. Is this going to be the final lap? Can we see the white flag? Yes, we can. So this is the final lap here in race number 3. We will join it back with that battle that we were watching between Leaky and McGee. Just slightly gone off the pace now. And it's all down to Alexander Scaret. Does he want to be brave enough to try and get that podium position, or quite happy? Because he won't get any extra points, by the way, if he does manage to pass Stuart, because he is currently P3 in that pro class. And even if he passes Stuart Winness for P3 overall on track, he will still be P3 in that pro field. So won't gain any extra points. But I suppose it's all kudos at the end of the day that the drivers want, and that's where he's sort of trying to be. But let's join back up with Thomas. Let's get his camera up, see if he celebrates, or if he's going to be Mr. Cool as he comes up through turn number 8. I believe that was turn 8. Yes, coming down now onto the back straight for the very last time here tonight in the Performance Link CLIO Cup at Donington Park, as he comes through the S's, clatters the curbs again as per usual, comes through and takes the checkered flag. That is P1 for what has been a mixed fortune. You can see him down in the right hand side, probably relieved to get a decent result there, because it's certainly been a hard day at the office for Thomas overall. But we can see him there taking a little bit of a breather now, as we're watching the rest of the field. We've got Craig Salter just coming around the last corner here to take P2 in that Pro-Am field. So there's Craig with Gordon. Where's Gordon? Gordon's a little bit behind him, coming into the S's now. Oh, look at this for a battle for P1 overall in the Am, and Paul Joseph Clist, and they also a little bit of a sprint here up to the line, and it looks like it's going to be Paul Joseph Clist who gets that #1 position. So what happened again to Alex Patrizio? I mean, the guy just can't buy a break here. Was leading the way, probably commentator cursed him, so damn me for that here again, and certainly got the paces, Alex, but just can't find the look. So Paul Joseph Clist, two firsts and a second. Great day at the office for Paul. You know, probably wasn't expecting that, to be fair. And it'd be interesting if we get him in for the interview to see where he is. But he's probably thrilled with that as he's trying to do a burnout there. But yeah, probably not ideal on the grass full throttle, but decides to give his embarrassments away and goes back to the pits. So there it is, the end of our race. Let's have a look. Do we have? Yes, we have got the results in. So let's have a look at the results for race number 3. So your winner, Thomas Wangen, 3rd time lucky for him. Winner of race number 3. Kim Andrew Bortland in 2nd. Top of the Pro-Am is Stuart Winness. A great day at the office for the Track Scotland driver. I think that's 3 from 3 for him tonight. Alexander Scaret in 4th. Leaky McGee in 5th. Kieran Smart in 6th. Michael Goff in 7th, with Daniel Sedgley in 8th. In 9th place, we got Craig Salton, 2nd place overall in the Pro-Am. But our top Am driver, Paul Joseph Clist, 2 wins in the 2nd place. Good day at the office for him. Vega Olsen in 2nd place. Gordon Haig in 12th, Steve Pearce in 13th, Alexander Patricio third in Anfield, and couldn't buy a luck, I don't think, Alex. Tom Harrich in 15th, Andy King McGee in 16th, and then the retirements of Stuart Gibbons, Yves Frederick, and Derek Crowther. So that rounds out our 3 races there. So interesting day at the office, I believe, for all the drivers. Let's have a look to see if we have any drivers in for an interview. And we certainly do. Let's pull in Thomas Wangen into the booth. Thomas, welcome to the booth. It was certainly an interesting 3 races for you. So talk us through tonight's adventures with yourself.
It's not much to say. It's just shit driving for people around you. So yeah.
That's blunt. that's very blunt there. But I mean, I suppose it's one of the things it being in this car, isn't it? The fact that it's quite hard to maintain a decent pace on it, and you've really got to be on the ball with where the cars are. But when you've got lots of cars around you fighting quite tightly, it certainly makes for interesting run. I mean, talk us through that second race, because that was just epic. The 3 of you coming over the line, that was just a brilliant race. Talk us through race number 2, because that was a good one.
That was a good one. From the beginning of, we knew we had to fuel save 1.5 liter, because we need to have 21.5 liter to the race. 2.5 liters fuel save. So we managed to do that from the beginning. Yeah, what I can say, I fuel save a little bit too much. So I looked at the wrong fuel saving calculator I have live. So that fuel saving calculator told me I need to fuel save 2 extra laps. So Daniel and Karain managed to pass me, a little unexpected. But then I looked at my calculator. I said, okay, I need to push 1 lap just to check the tires and get the heat up again, because my tires was perfectly fine. I could push 30 more laps, no problem. So, but yeah, Daniel outfinted me this time. But okay, next time, 3 of 3.
Well, it's nice for you to have a little bit of challenge. It probably gets a little bit boring even for yourself if you're constantly out front winning it. If you've got somebody around you, and it's not just Daniel, it's Kieran as well, that are exceptionally quick drivers in these CLIO Cup. It was sort of a little bit neutralised there in the 3rd race. I thought we were going to have another titanic battle between the 3 of you, but seemed to be, obviously, Daniel got a bit of an issue coming down through the corner curves on the first corner. I'm not quite sure what happened to Kieran as well, but sort of let you get out, and it was probably an easy run into the win in race number 3 for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's stupid to change the direction of the car when you have the car beside of you. So yeah, and Karain got a slowdown in the chicane. So yeah, yeah, I had no words. This race is just shit for me. So yeah.
well, but to be honest, mate, you can't have it all your own way every single time. I know you like to, but it's good to see the battle in on track between yourself. It's only 2 rounds down, and it's not all lost. Daniel did have a bad race number 3 there, so the points will be extremely close at the end of this one in that Pro Championship. But we go to Oulton Park next week, obviously. Been round there in a GT3, been round there in a Cadillac GTS, and now you're going to go around in the Clio. It's 3-3 for 3 different cars at the same track. How are you looking forward to that one, mate?
It's a hard track. Definitely we need to fuel save a lot, much more than here. So from this race, I take race 3 with me, and the first race, of course, I managed to climb the time tower, the leaderboard, and at the end we managed to get Corinne in the finish as well, so not the fuel stop. So yeah, I hope that is okay for him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, It's a bit of both, isn't it? I think at the end of the day is you take the rough with the smooth, but take the win from race number 3, forget about race 2, and really enjoy race number 2 watching it back on the stream, mate. But before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Of course, you guys as always, Eagle Coatings, Sande Trafikkskole, Elverdi, EK Sim, for doing all the 3D prints on my rig, and all guys on track. Most of you are clean, so yeah.
Well, let's keep it nice and civilized in the Discord. But congratulations, commiserations, all in the same event, and look forward to seeing you out in Elton Park.
Thank you. See you there.
See you later. Let's join in a guy that certainly had the look on his side today. Stuart, welcome to the booth, mate. I mean, wow, you couldn't have asked for a better round yourself, could you?
Yeah, evening guys. Yeah, it was not bad for 40 minutes of practice tonight.
I mean, there was a lot of carnage around you. They were watching you quite a bit. Always up there with a pro. Is it? You seem to very much like this track. Is this a track that you really enjoy going around?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was quite enjoying it. Just getting more smoother and more consistent with throttle, and then also now we had fuel saving to put in tonight. When I was in the lead and looked down and goes to Kieran when speaking to him, goes, "Yeah, I think we've got enough fuel."
I mean, did you realise that coming into tonight's event that you would have to do a little bit of fuel saving, or did you just realise that in the first race?
No realization until first race, halfway through first race. Like total. Let's go back to lifting coast. Back to lifting coast.
Well, I just want to ask, because obviously in that first race you were I think it was P2 overall, and then you seemed to just let the other two guys back. Was that trying to fuel save, or just realising I'm in the top of my class anyway, I don't need to fight with these guys? What happened there?
I was just leading, and then I was like, "Oh, this is looking good, yeah." And then, oh no, a better fuel save, and then I'd run out just as I came out the chicane, and then I lost all the positions. Like, but I was still leading class, so I was like, I was happy enough for that.
So literally going over the line with no fuel.
Yeah, literally, it was like clutching it and everything, just trying to dab the throttle, just do something to get me across the line.
Oh, I mean, how do you like that? It's a little bit different, because normally in these CLIO sprint races, it's just like you get loads of fuel. It's just a pure full-out race. So how are you liking the fact, or the devious tactics that we put in to give you something else to think about in the race?
Absolute panic. I am not the greatest with fuel saving. Kieran is the boy who in our team is the one that fuel saves. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've got plenty of fuel, guys. I've got plenty of fuel," and I don't. Okay.
So I mean, 3 from 3. Yeah, definitely a great day at the office for you, and it will obviously bode you well in the team and in your personal championship in that Pro-Am field. So a great day at the office for you, isn't it, overall?
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised to be, especially in qualifying as well, for getting that high up in the grid. I was nowhere near that in practice, but the races seemed to come back to me, so it was fine. It's really good.
No, it was really good. So congratulations on an epic night's racing for yourself. Obviously, 40-minute practice certainly works out for yourself. Before we let you go, do you have anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'll just say for my last name, it's not Winnes, it's Winus.
Winus.
Just to, yeah, Winus, Andy. But other than that, I'll give a shout out to Adam Grant, who's probably watching this on the TV again. His wife's been so generous in letting him watch the TV, and also my brother, he's putting comments in the chat as well. So all for that.
I apologise for getting your name wrong. I'll probably butcher quite a few people's name in my commentary. But
that's alright, it happens all the time. When folk go in the house, it's fun.
I do know now, so I will correct myself.
That's no bother, I no bother. Thanks for having us.
Cheers, mate. Look forward to seeing you out on Elton Park next week.
See you later.
See you later. There was Stuart there. Great day at the office. For him, 3 wins from 3. Let's pull in another guy that's had a great day at the office. It probably wasn't expected. Paul, welcome to the booth, mate. 2 first places in a second. That's a good day in anyone's book, isn't it?
It certainly is. I'm well chuffed with that, to be honest.
Let's just go back to race number 1. You were P5 overall. Did you know, first off, that you had to fuel save in this race? Because you went from P5 all the way up to P1 when the rest of the field went in to get fuel and you didn't. So did you do your homework and you knew that at the start of the race?
Yeah, I did my homework. That's thanks to SDK Gaming with the live fuel calculation. Go around the track for the first 2 laps. So I was like, oh, this is not adding up. Let me just start fuel saving. So lucky enough, I seen it early on, and then managed to pull away the win in race 1.
Yeah, I mean that was probably really unexpected for you to be able to win that race 1, but then obviously you backed that up in race number 2 with a P2. And then race number 3, that seemed to ebb and flow. There was a lot of chaos at the start of race 3 in the Anfield. Quite a few of the drivers went out early on, and there was constant changing of position. But by the end, you came out on top. How was race number 3 for you?
Yeah, race number 3 was pretty aggressive going into turn 1. So I let the guys overtake. I'm like, you guys got fuel save, and I just had fuel save in my mind. Charles was also in my ear at the time. But yeah, pushing on down, letting them go past, keeping my patience, not pushing the CLIO too much to fuel save, and managed to do P1 again after everyone getting carnage.
Definitely is. I mean, obviously you were P3 coming into this round, so certainly getting 2 P1s and P2 in the championship overall will probably put you closer, if not to the top of the standings there in the Amber. What's it like? Obviously, you race in the GT3, so you come from the very quick GT3 cars on a Sunday, then come into this on a Thursday. How do you change the mindset from using the GT3 cars to then get back into the slower tin top cars, the hot hatches, to try and maximise the speed? Just take us through your mindset through the 2 different races.
Yeah, I have a lot of time on my mind. A lot of time, free time too, of course. Consider my job title being foster care and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I go from Monday to Wednesday, practice for this, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then pretty much Sunday morning, I practice for the GT3.
So very good, and obviously you've got a good team behind you that look after. Just tell us a little bit about obviously being a part of the Olympus Sports setup and what they do to help you through the week in either setup. Obviously can't help you in the setup in this series, but like you were mentioning there, Charles in your ear to spotter in. Just take us through the mechanics of your team and how they've really helped you in the 2 different series that you're currently racing in on the Performance Link.
Oh yeah, I'll start with the GT3s in from season 1, of course. As you know, I race many leagues, and as I have a lot of time on my hands, it's a lot of practice. But since I joined Olympus on the 15th of November, it's completely constantly changed my whole entire racing. I even went out and bought a next level racing FGT sim racing rig. But yeah, but TC. Charles and Matthew within the Nordschleife 24. It's been an absolute honour. A big pleasure to racing Olympus. The team is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is a good, and it helps you, doesn't it, being a part of a big team that it strives you to push you on to be a lot better driver, rather than if you're a privateer that you've got nobody driving you to be better.
Yeah, and having obviously the team, that's everyone supportive. There's like no negative, it's all positive. Like one day I put in a chat, oh, I can't bother to practice, and you get like an inspiration message drop, and then you're like, yeah, stuff it, let's go.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's it's good to see you out on track. I do remember I've sort of been there for when you first started racing and commentating you over on Apex, and now obviously moving across to Performance Linked and see the difference in standards that you've got out on track, and you're certainly progressing on. You're a more well-rounded driver, so congratulations here tonight, mate, on 2 wins and a 2nd place. But before we let you go, would you like to give a shout out to anyone?
Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to my team at Olympus Esports, absolutely phenomenal. Yourself, Andy, for putting on these incredible leagues with some spices in them.
It definitely is. No, thanks, Paul, and look forward to seeing you out on Sunday in the North Sheffield Grand Prix Strek, and next week in the Clios in Alton Park, mate. So a busy week ahead for you. Cheers, mate.
It certainly is. Thank you very much.
So there was Paul there. Great day in the Anfield. Got time to have one more chat with Alexander Scaret there. Alex, just take us through your free racing. That pro field certainly is a bit spicy overall to be in. So just take us through that.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for me. So, but the fuel saving was a bit tricky. But it's so close, top 6 in each race.
How are you liking, obviously, going from racing the GT3s on Sunday, another one of our GT3 races, to come into what seems to be an absolute hoot to drive these little Clio cars? How are you enjoying being in the Clio Cup as well as the GT3?
Yeah, it's a whole different car. I have to say that. On the last lap, I got a tap from Lee King, and if that was a GTT, I would not have saved that. So it's a car you can fight a little more in. You can push and shove a little more, but it's a whole new driving style.
It certainly is. It can take a little bit of damage as well, these cars, can't they? They can take a bit of bumping and grinding, like you were mentioning the GT3 cars. You smile at a GT3 car wrongly and you cripple it. But these cars, you can take a little bit of damage before it really affects your driving, can't you?
Yeah, but the most important is you can have a good slide and still save it. In the GT3, you're just gonna lose it.
Definitely. In fact, we as you mentioned that one is actually on the broadcast. We did capture that one, and by the way, that was a rather amazing save. But I think Lee realised that he made a mistake and obviously didn't try to push past you again. So fair play to him for
that was fair play. But my pants is a little.
It was almost sideways, but I mean that's probably the great thing about these little Clio Cups and the slower cars on iRacing, like the MX-5, the Clio Cups now, the GR86s, is that there's so much fun racing, and if you have the fixed setup so everybody's on the same setup, it makes the racing super close and super fun.
Yeah.
Are you finding that? Are you really enjoying the close battling between not only your teammates but people from the other class?
Yeah, it's the difference is so small, so you just gotta carry the momentum, and if you lose the pack, you're out. You have to keep the draft and stay within because it's so close.
How are you liking our devilishly tactic of making you having not only thinking about the racing and being keeping up with the cars, but the fuel saving aspect of it? How are you enjoying or not enjoying that?
It's a bit tricky, and you have to think a little more, and you can push. So, but the race 2, I saved too much and lost 2 places on the last 2 laps. So, and I almost had the 0.7 liters at the end. So, I should have pushed more, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I suppose that's racing. We got Alton Park out next week, so you're another driver that's done it in a GT3, done it in the Cadillac CTS, and now you're going to do it in the Clio. How are you looking forward to that one? You should be well practiced, mate.
Yeah, I don't like that track at all, but but it's the shorter version too, so maybe fuel isn't that big of an issue because you don't get full throttle so much, but we'll see.
Definitely will be. But Alex, thank you for joining us in the box. And before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
I'd like to give a shout out to my team, IJL Coatings and Sande Trafikkskole. And in this car, it's Thomas that helps me. That helps a lot. And it's fun to be 2. We should be 1 more, but he isn't here today.
Exactly. But yeah, thanks for joining us, mate, and look forward to seeing you on Sunday as well as next Thursday at Alton Park. So good luck on Sunday.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. There was Alex there having enjoyable time in what is the Clio Cup. Very much likes the differences between the 2 cars. So that pretty much wraps it up here today at Donington Park. It's been entertaining. That race number 2 was absolutely epic. It was a real big grandstand finish. Race 1 and 2, you know, Daniel done an excellent job out on track. Race 1 and 2, but had that incident there in race number 3. So it's a bit unfortunate for him. But you know, it certainly showed his pace. And those 3 drivers, Thomas Wang and Daniel Sedgley and Kieran Smart, certainly are entertaining at the front end of that pro field when they don't cause each other, trip over each other and cause a few incidents. But, you know, that's all about the racing. That's what these Clio Cups are all about. It's the close racing, the close proximity of the racing that we have. So a big thank you as well to all the people that are watching us on YouTube that support us. Please, if you like the broadcast, give us that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. It really helps us out here. We're so close to getting the 500 subscribers, and we would really like to get that to make us bigger and better. What we've got coming up on the Performance Link Sunday, we've got the 2-hour endurance round of the GT3 Season 2 Performance Link Cup round the Nordschleife, well, not Nordschleife, is it? It's the GP circuit over in Germany. So that'll be interesting. That broadcast is 9 o'clock. Then we obviously rejoin this one again next Thursday at Alton Park. So it's going to be interesting. Bit of racing. We've got lots of things planned in the pipeline as well. We're looking at trying to do a Super Cup round, which Super Truck round, which should be super interesting. Probably next one out, we'll probably look at the hot hatches being the MX-5. Then we'll probably do the GR8 for a short 5-round burst before we get back into Season 3 of the GT3 Cup, starting again in the winter months, because everybody loves racing in the winter. Not so much in the summer when the weather is lovely and warm, but the short series will keep everybody entertained here. But, you know, big thank you for everyone for joining us again here at Donington Park. I've been Andy Thompson. I would have had Tom, but he's out with Farmer Giles fixing his tractors. So hopefully he'll be with me here on Sunday, because I don't really fancy doing a 2-hour broadcast on my own. I think my voice will give up if that happens, but I'm pretty sure he will come and join us. But I've been Andy Thompson. It's been a pleasure, as always, having you along with me for the journey. But from here at Donington Park, until next time out at Alton Park next week, I'll bid you farewell. Good night.